My name is Daniel Robinson. I attend AC Flora, and I'm planning to major in geology at the College of Charleston.
Good job.
You are my shelter from the storm. You keep me safe inside your wings. You are my comfort when life gets hard. You lead me to water to drink. Your gentle hand, even when I can't understand, I know your voice. I'm not afraid, walking with me at the same pace.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And today, on July the 13th, 2022, I'm still currently searching for him. Thank you guys for joining in this evening on this evening's Q&A. My name is David Robinson. I am the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. My son, Daniel, a graduate of College of Charleston in Charleston, South Carolina, decided to come out to Arizona to do his career, to expand his horizons, to make Phoenix his home. My son on June the 23rd last year, working as a geologist, field geologist, also working as what is called as hydrogeologist, was out doing his job. His job entails going to different various well sites all over Arizona, especially places where new communities are being built. As you know, a lot of Arizona's a desert state, and a lot of communities being built in these deserts have to have well sites. Most of them have 2 well sites. These well sites have to produce at least 100 years of water. My son's job is very important to determine if those wells will produce at least 100 years of water for these communities, as well as the viability of the well, checking the rock sediments that come out of have to be tested for the water safety, the things that come out of the ground. So his job is very crucial, very important to Arizona. My son decided to make Arizona his home. Like I said, he loved hiking. He loved being out here in Arizona doing Arizona things. My son, like I say, one of the things is hiking. One of the things is the rocks. He's a geologist, and geologists love rocks. They love pretty rocks, as I like to put it. But like I said, on June 23rd, Daniel decided to, of course, he's doing his job. He went out to get his assignments. He went to 2 well sites that day he was assigned to. The first one was off of Verrado Way area, out in Buckeye, Arizona. After completing that first one, he called, according to this worker for a company called Weber. He called and also for his phone records called, text, and try to find locations to how to get to the second well site. Once he did that, according to this worker from Weber, my son met him out on Sun Valley Parkway on the side of the road. They had a brief conversation. My son followed him into that well site, to that desert. To get to that well site, they went 1 mile west and 2 miles north to get to the desert area. I can tell you that once they arrived, according to that worker, they had a brief discussion, mainly about the weather itself. According to this worker, it was raining that day. I'll go back to that later, but it was raining that day. My son wanted to close the job site down for the day to go back to Phoenix, the rest, to go back home. As you know, with a little bit of homework, my son has been doing Instacart. Instacart is something he had did to try to fill in the gaps. The money that was being held up from expenses and stuff like that from travel. Of course, my son had to put in a travel report, expense report, and those money had to be reimbursed to him. What I'm understanding, those monies are slow to get back. Of course, it could cause his bills to be behind. So, of course, he's definitely doing the Instacart to fill in that time space until he get his money back from his company. So, of course, my son been working, very tired. Anybody can understand if my son been working that night prior, been very tired, working up late, and then going to 2 well sites early in the morning. He was tired. He probably wanted to go back. Hey, the rain is a good excuse to say, hey, look, let's go ahead and shut this well site down and let's go ahead back to Phoenix. So after the brief conversation, called this worker, this worker said my son simply waved to him, got in his vehicle, backed up, and drove off where he was never ever seen again. I can tell you, almost 30 days later, the vehicle my son was driving was put here in this ravine behind me. And I've been careful when I say that, and I literally said it's been, in my opinion, planted there. Of course, we know the story behind that. The vehicle showing up there almost 30 days later. We understand that there was two searches done prior to the vehicle being found in the ravine. The first one was done by the Buckeye Police Department that covered that area here. Almost 3 days after my son went missing, they claimed they used Phoenix. Phoenix came out with their Firebird helicopter, which I haven't got word from Phoenix yet if that's so the case. But they came out to fly over this area and didn't find anything. Looking for my son out in the desert. As well as almost 2 weeks after that point, they went out in this area again, searches that spot here with Civil Air Patrol. And Civil Air Patrol used a fixed wing aircraft as well as ground crew. I was there on the side of the road. They didn't let me in, of course. I told you guys before, I thought that was very highly suspicious, but they didn't want me into the desert while they were searching, and they made sure I didn't by blocking the entranceway with the vehicle with one of the Civil Air Patrol guys. But they nevertheless have a map here showing that they covered this area. On the report, of course, it says they used two aircrafts, or they did double flybys and stuff like that, which is false because I have video evidence that say differently. I was actually there. They went one flyby with one aircraft, one fixed wing aircraft, but nevertheless, they went over this area and the vehicle wasn't there, as well as the testimony of a rancher who actually found this vehicle sitting here. Was saying he was there 2 to 3 days prior to the 19th and the vehicle wasn't there. So we have all these instances where the vehicle wasn't there, but how did it get there? All thing we know about my son's vehicle is that from what I understand from my data that came from my investigator that I paid for, he found out that the vehicle was crashed 4 hours after my son went missing. And the vehicle was crashed on the 23rd, and it wasn't here until July the 19th. Where was it? We did know that we do know evidence-wise that there's 11 additional miles on the vehicle after that crash at 1 o'clock on the 23rd. The vehicle was driven 11 additional miles from that point. And then we also know at the same time as well is that from that there was red transfer paint on the vehicle, as well as some of the other things that would suggest that this is a vehicle's placed there. Because we do have clothing sitting outside 3 feet away from the vehicle that haven't been tested because Buckeye didn't do any forensic work. They didn't have nothing to compare forensic work with because they didn't do any swabs or get any DNA or even suggest the family doing a DNA swab and things like that to get any kind of DNA evidence of my son with these clothes. So we don't know if these clothes belong to Daniel. It's not. We do know some clothes are sitting there that's being claimed by the Buckeye Police Department as Daniel's clothes without evidence that it's his clothing because it's near his vehicle. The safety vest as well as the boots, and some of the things that was inside his vehicle. So they're assuming this is clothes because they found Daniel's wallet, they say, it's inside the pants pocket of the clothes that's sitting on the ground. But like I said, we don't have any evidence to prove that those clothes do belong or the wallet was put there. I don't know if my son was carrying a wallet or not. So those type deals. So we definitely need to get those answers for that and find out if these assumptions by the Buckeye Police Department are true or not. So those type deals. So that's what we got standing here. You guys know that I started here in Arizona upon my reason of coming out. I was going to come out to Arizona anyway. If you have a missing child and you don't get any answers really quick, you're going to come out, right? You're going to come out and see about your child. So that was going to happen anyway. But to help me out, of course, the first thing you do when you put in a missing person report from a family standpoint is to go out and try to do everything you can. Whether that's I'm 2,000 some miles away, I have to make phone calls to rely on the police department. That's what they're there for. That's their job. I'm over 2,000 miles away. They should be in my liaison. They should have been the person stepping in the gap for me to make sure they go out there and look for my son, as if it was a police cruiser missing, just went missing, or a police officer went missing. They should be doing the same efforts, and that's what I assumed that was going to happen. That's my assumption. That was going to happen. I asked them to go out that night and in the desert. I know they put a report there. We did the area. No, that's those play word games again. Like I told you guys, yeah, they did go out because I told Officer Cruz he went out to Sun Valley Parkway. He didn't go into the desert. He went in Sun Valley Parkway and rode up and down that road where he told me verbally and just to see if my son was stuck on the side of the road in that desert area. And they played the road game, so you guys would think they actually was out in the desert looking for him at night. They was not. And then the second thing was they told me they couldn't put the helicopter out there because it was night. And so had to wait till the next morning. And what prompted me to come to Arizona faster is because the next morning they told me they was going to do so. I was really excited about that, really happy. Maybe I can get those answers, and I don't have to come out to Arizona. They'll find him. He'll be fine. And we can go from there and see what happened if I needed to come out or not. But they ended up calling me out about an hour later. And the officer told me that his higher-ups scratched the flight and said they would not be going out to search for Daniel because he's a grown man. If he want to disappear, he can. You know, on his own, he can. So when I hear that assumptions from the police department that Daniel, assuming that Daniel wanted to be gone from his family, be gone, and he disappeared on his own without evidence, that's just their assumptions. I knew this department wasn't taking my son's disappearance seriously, and that was the end of the story for them. That was in the story. That the reason why you guys should know that was in the story, because like I said, that first initial search, from that point, when them saying that to me that next day, the search didn't happen until almost 3 days later. I had an auntie from Philly reaching out, and she whatever she said to them about time I was on that road and get to Arizona. That's when I got that call from her, really excited, said, yeah, they're gonna put a Phoenix Firebird in the air to go look for Daniel. I was really elated, really, really excited about that, really happy. But I still was on the way. I was on the way. I'm still traveling, on the way, making it into Phoenix. Once I got there, I was really happy to hear that they say they did this flight out there. Of course, they came back empty-handed. Like I said again, they searched this area. They came back empty-handed, right? They say they went to the well site as well. They came back empty-handed. Now, what made me puzzled and ask the questions about the first initial search, like I told you guys before, is the fact that I did my own investigation as well. I talked to the guy who last seen my son. I need to see this guy from man to man, look in his eye, him telling me that my son, the son that I know most, just wave off to him and just disappear, never be seen again. Just wave off, that type deal. Well, Daniel didn't want to be at work. He wouldn't have went to 2 well sites, in my opinion. Nevertheless, come to 1 well site and just decide to go ahead and leave then. No, he would never came to work at all. So my son is a very responsible young man. He's definitely taken care of himself for years. I couldn't see him deciding to leave life as it is on June the 23rd when he had plans. He just built his computer. He just had plans with his sister to go hiking that weekend, as well as some other things. We had plans for me to coming out to Arizona on July last year to see this vehicle for the first time, to spend time with him and his sisters. So we was going to have a great time together. And so we had plans. I could see future plans being made, and he decided without talking to us about anything or showing any kind of indication that he was so depressed that they tried to put it out there that he wouldn't relay that to the family. He only relaying that to coworkers somehow. So that type deal. So, again, in my opinion, and what I do know about the facts, this department at the time, like I said, did that first initial search almost 3 days later with this helicopter. But like I said, I questioned that because when I talked to the guy at the well, Kenneth, I talked to him and he told me, hey, look, I said, oh, you've been here on the date they say they're doing. Because I really say, okay, well, I want to, I didn't say it just to try to verify Buckeye went out there on that search with the Phoenix Firebird helicopter. I just asked, hey, look, I said, oh, you was there when they came with the helicopters and came to the well site. He said, well, I was here all day. He was there the whole entire time. Since my son went missing on the 23rd, he was there every day, the entire day, working on that well. And he said, no, I didn't personally see any helicopter or hear any helicopter or see any, no officers was there at the well site. So that made me question if the search even happened in the first place. I think they're just telling the family something just to make us feel good and to, appear, like I said, been showing kind of forward, going fast forward, hindsight, looking back, everything to appear to look at the police department has done something, but they really haven't. They write what they wanted to in the report, but it is not actually things that actually happens. So as well as, because of that, like I said, I was questioning that whole search, of course. So when I heard they were going to do a second search with the Civil Air Patrol, I didn't tell them I was going to show up. As a matter of fact, I was there an hour before they claimed they was going to show up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in that morning. I was there at 5 in the morning. They didn't show up to 8 o'clock that morning. I do have video footage of that. I have video footage the whole time sitting on the side of the road. And you guys will see the video footage from whenever I decide to release it one day. You'll see the footage is where I'm sitting on the side of the road with my family, my daughter as well, and to just to be sitting there for hours on the side of the road in the vehicle because they refused to let me inside that gate to see what they really was doing. They literally put their vehicle there to block my driveway so I couldn't get in there. If they drive off, all those supposed to be going out and look for my son, but they asked one of the Civil Air Patrol guys to stay behind and just to block the entrance and make sure I didn't come into that desert for whatever reason. And so, like I said, they came back with a map that showed, they emailed me the map a day or so later, I believe it was, or that same evening, of the area that they covered. They said they covered with that one Fitz aircraft that I saw flying over our head, that one pass over. And they said that, but I didn't really look at that map too well, and I didn't notice they already had the symbol of a vehicle sitting in these areas where the vehicle would be found on the 19th, and that was on the 9th when they did a Civil Air Patrol search. But I didn't really realize that, but I do know they covered the area where this vehicle will eventually be found on the 19th of July, not on the 9th when they actually did the search. So they came up empty-handed. Nothing was there, according to them. They didn't find anything. They didn't find anything. So, like I said, the vehicle wasn't here, you guys. The vehicle wasn't here. My investigator, he found all kind of evidence and we gave them plausible evidence that suggests foul play, and they refused to call it a criminal case, the Buckeye Police Department. Despite of the windshield being bashed in with some instrument that appeared to be like utilized. We can't say what that instrument is. We're putting our ideas together. It could be a bat, or they could have took some heavy brick or something to try to mash in, throw into the windshield. So it was two different impressions on two sides, one on the passenger side, one on the individual, one on the passenger side and one on the driver's side windshield is bashed inward. So those things have been addressed. Those things haven't been, and you guys probably could see it a little bit there, but those things haven't been addressed, as well as some other evidence that we gave them. The damage didn't match the terrain. When the vehicle come down the vehicle crashed down in there because it was rolled down in the ravine and it crashed down. But the damage from that roll down that ravine came after the initial crash at like I said, 4 hours after my son went missing. But that damage came from rolling down that ravine, like I said, as well as the vehicle did not roll over, as the Buckeye Police Department's asset reconstructionist, who never seen my son's vehicle, never even physically touched it or did any kind of thing to his vehicle, the clothing or anything, examine the vehicle itself, tried to suggest that it did a full rollover and all the stuff. There's no damage on the top part of the vehicle where the vehicle came in contact with the ground or anything else from the top part where the sunroof is, you guys. So in the back end as well, there's no broken glass, nothing. Think about this: if it did a full rollover, you can almost imagine that a lot of more windows would be bust out. Only one that's out of that vehicle is the one on the driver's door. And from my investigator standpoint, it happened somewhere else because the glass that's on the ground do not match the way that vehicle is lying, and the glass ended up there on the ground some type of way in a perfect square shape before it got all smashed up and people start stealing glass. But some of those things doesn't match up. There's no glass in the vehicle itself. You know, if it did a rollover, you see some type of significant glass inside the vehicle. The door is open, most likely, when that glass was knocked out. So there's a lot of physical evidence there that suggests, and there's also the black data box that Buckeye pulled. And you guys got to understand that Buckeye, they want to pull that data. It wasn't my investigator. They only gave it to him. Now think about this again. Like he's saying, not preaching it over and over again. They ain't gonna put in a report that way if it's the truth. They said to my investigator himself, we have no more investigation. We're not investigating this case, and that's why they turned over everything to him. Before that, they went on their own social media. Nobody prompted them to do it. But you got to understand this: why they hiding, because them guys literally on their Facebook, and I still have copies of that from the reporters here, the local reporters. Because what happened is they put on their men and say, "Hey, we don't have more leads to follow. It's over, basically. We have no more leads to follow. There's no more leads to follow in this case." But then once you guys started asking questions about their course reporters reporting on that, they deleted that post. So if that's not some type of form of cover up in the sense, in my opinion, I don't know what else to call it. Because why do you have to feel like you have to erase that tweet, or that not tweet, but the Facebook post? They took that off, saying no more leads to follow, but they did say that. I still have those copies. No more leads to follow, and they also told my investigator they're not investigating his case. That's why they turned over the black box data that they didn't read. That's where my investigator got the 11 additional miles from, as well as some of the other information they got from that black box data they had in their possession. They didn't read it. He found the red transfer paint on the vehicle as well, and some of those other things that they haven't found. Buckeye haven't found anything. They was on the scene here, they claim, with, of course, again, had the rancher disputing their story, saying they had one cadaver dog. Now we'll check with Maricopa County, because they got these, when I talked to Sheriff is on again, because they say during that time when this happened, those, according to that rancher, he told me that they said those dogs was in training, but they was able to get one dog from Maricopa County, and that dog came at 10 o'clock at night. He said it was there. They've been out there a half hour, and they brought the dog back to their truck and took off because they said the mountain lion was stalking the dog. They told me that on the 20th, when that vehicle was, after the vehicle was found, over 24 hours after the vehicle was found, they alerted me of it, that they use cadaver dogs with S. They do search dogs, and they did all of this in that area, and they didn't find anything. I said, what about footprints, tire tracks? We ain't found nothing. No tire tracks, no footprints, no nothing. There's nothing. The dogs couldn't alert on anything. But yet we found a human skull near here. I have 3 separate sets of dogs that I have put into my searches, and we alerted on a tree near this area 3 times. 3 different dogs at 3 different times alerted on the same tree. That type deal, finding the human remains in that area. And they had cadaver dogs with plural, they said, it's search dogs, and they didn't find a construction cone, nothing, a dead rat. They didn't find anything. Those dogs only go on the human scent, but they didn't find anything, right? So that made me again question and believe what the rancher said. He gave me the number of officers that was there. It matches their own footage that they gave me. They claimed they had this low-flying helicopter, man hanging out the window and all this kind of superhero stuff that they described to me. The rancher said there was no helicopter out there. They had drone. And it's kind of ironic because everything I asked for from that department in meeting, they decided to release to me and say, because they had no more cases, over. They gave me my son's things. I had possession of the vehicle. I had possession of the clothes that was on the ground. And all that stuff is in evidence bag marked for safekeeping here. This is his stuff. And he's going to come back for it with a head injury out there in the desert, naked, whatever the case may be. Here's his things. Yeah, we done with it. It's over. So what I'm saying is, you guys, it is so much a mess in this case. And I've been trying my best as a father. At day one, y'all see my tenacity where I am. This is my son. I'm very, very passionate about my children. I love mine. Of course, that's my duty. I'm proud to be a father, and make sure that I'm taking care of my family as well. It doesn't end. It doesn't end when your children turn to an adult, that you somehow, just kind of don't care anymore. Yeah, you still care. You still care about your children. They may be adults. They're young adults. They just making it life. Hey, look, sometimes they don't call you. They'll talk, could possibly. But sometimes, you got to always be there for them when they need advice. Daniel's one of them. Like I told you, we talk 2-hour conversation every time. And we talk. And he's always asking questions. He's always telling me what he's thinking. And whatever the case may be, that's what we're there for as parents. It's almost like a counselor. It turned from being the kind of parent where you guide them how to tie their shoe to some little things as kids, but then they become adults. We still guidance counselors in a sense, just try to help them navigate adulthood. So we've been to some areas already they haven't traveled yet, and that's what we're there for. So nevertheless, what I'm saying is, you guys, I'm definitely here for my son. I've been here, like I said, fighting. You guys have been supporting. You guys have been listening to the story over and over again, hearing some of the same things over and over and over again. I have been doing some investigative stuff. I come to a stop. I come to a stump. When I say I come to a stop, I didn't stop investigating. I'm coming to an area where I come to a stop because of the forensic work that need to be done. I still haven't gotten the money and things I need to get these forensics done. So my goal right now is to get my son's case pull over to. They threw my son's case away. I'm not going to allow the Buckeye Police Department to tell my investigator they're not investigating, and to give me all these things and tell me they have no more leads to follow and such things like that. They was done with my son. They gave me everything. They even gave me a final report, police report. Now this came from Chief Hall. hey, this is the final report. My detective finished. They gave me a partial report that day. Then they later, which I still have, the full report. They done. It's over. This whole case to them is done. I gave you the final report. You can do whatever you want to with it, and I still have it, unredacted stuff. All this new reporting and adding in things, making themselves look good and all that kind of stuff, I don't follow that kind of stuff. I literally going by what they told me they're done with my son's case, and they have been doing that ever since. Done with this case. They've been more focused on making themselves look good out of really doing something to find my son. I don't need that. I don't need that from the department. They already messed up. They already damaged my son's case. If something was come up and I have more evidence of foul play, they messed my son's case up. They messed the chain of custody up to everything else when they gave me that vehicle the day after it was found. They was rushing me to get that vehicle. The detectives, the day showing me the vehicle, trying to his best to get me to touch this vehicle for whatever reason. And, that type of deal. So, I have that stuff, and I'm not going to stop fighting for my son, getting his justice that he deserved, try to get this case moved over to a different department. That's what I'm working on in the background, you guys. It's a lot of pressure with that. I get a lot of, one thing about me, I give praise where praise is due. I give praise to the departments that really reached out and said these things, but I still have to say to these departments, they have to understand the kind of nature that I am, the kind of guy that I am, the father I am, who I am as a person. I really appreciate when people do the simple things. First of all, reach out and say, hey, I'm really sorry this happened to you. Like I was looking at Buckeye, for instance, when I went to city council, and they to date still haven't reached out to me, the mayor or whoever. They just showed me who they are. So I don't expect nothing different from that whole city of Buckeye, included the police department. So, but what I'm saying is Phoenix and Tempe and some of these others, I can see the way that they approached me when I came to them as concern, right? As concern, and they'll say things, hey, look, we're gonna do what we can to help, blah, 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 so on, so on. Some of the things I would not be able to discuss here. But the thing is, when I hear those things, it made me feel optimistic. I'm really happy to hear that somebody actually, like I told Sheriff Azon, for instance, when you just sit here, allow me to have a meeting with you, and you sit down and you listen. I see your assistant taking notes of what I'm saying and things like that. That means a lot to a family member. Just have somebody actually listen at first. That's the first part of it. But I don't go there. I don't just stop there as a father. Don't stop there as a person. I go farther than that. I give you time because everybody needs time. But I can't give you too much time either, because my son's life is at stake. His integrity, his if he's out there lying on the ground in the desert, a place I couldn't find so far, he's need to be found. Because guys, of course, you already know when I found these human remains out there, my searches, I'm saying, these people are scattered all over the place. We'll find a femur here, or arm bone, or a vertebrae, or whatever case here and there, that would constitute a person. But we didn't find the whole skeletal remain, is what I'm trying to say. And out there in the desert, because of animals and the weather itself, it's very hard on the human's body, and it gets scattered in different places. And I don't want that to happen to my son. So it's definitely crucial that I have certain things done quickly. It's crucial that if he's out there, somebody holding him hostage, or he's got caught up in some other situation, it's crucial that this case go on to find him quick as possible and get him out of that situation. So I don't have time to wait. And people's really nice, and they say, hey, I'm gonna try to help them. No, it need to be an urgency. And that's the things, like I told you guys, that I saw. The first 24 to 48 hours is crucial. They have the first 48. They have a show, and these detectives have to really work hard in that 48 hours to find information. And that's long gone. It's been over a year now. And then now I'm trying to get other departments into this right here. And if people start dragging their feet, they can tell me anything that make me feel good. Yes, I'm gonna have a meeting with you. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And then if they drag their feet, that's when it become a problem for me, because like I said, I'm the type of guy, I like action. I don't like the words. I could be a father sitting in South Carolina. Yeah, I care about my son, and oh my God, I'm trying to do everything I can to help him. But if I'm not on the ground like I have been doing for a whole year, fighting for my son, that is words. Words and actions are two different things. So I expect the action from myself, and I expect action from the police department. I want them to work with me, not Buckeye. They already did enough damage. I need these departments to work with me and try to get my son's case to be removed to a different department and have it have the investigation and turn over all the stuff, information that I have as well that I gathered, investigational wise, as well as everything I have in my possession, to help me. Because, guys, I'm doing this myself, trying to ask you guys for donations to try to get forensic work done, trying to reach my goal to get these things done. I thought I can do it with the donation push I had with some of these podcasts. I have a lot going on. I had to remain here in Arizona. I had to keep the flyer distribution going. I had to keep my investigation going, and I was doing searches. As you guys can see, the searches has long been stalled and stopped because of funding and things like that. So, you guys, there's a lot on my plate. But what I'm saying, as a father, I just have to keep on pushing. Got to keep on pushing and keep on going and make sure we don't stop. What I'm saying, I would do whatever I have to do to make sure my son, like I said, get that justice he need. And it's going to a point where I have to make some extreme measures to try to get these departments to actually hear me. You know what I'm saying? If you can tell me anything you want to, but if I start not see those actions behind your words, then it become problematic for me. So, I don't have the time to wait. If there's an officer out there missing like that, I'm sure it won't be no, I'm waiting to get a meeting done. No, they'll shut that whole department down just to find that one officer. So my son is a taxpayer. He's a contributor to society. He's a human being. He's a young man who needs to be found, and he's just as much as valuable as any officer they got on that force. Even their children, he's just as much as valuable as they own. So they need to approach my son's case the same way. I would like to see them do that with every case in this country. We have a country where I'm a veteran, an Afghanistan veteran. Out there, I almost lost my life, have brain injury myself, fighting for this country. And, one of our enemies at the time was Osama bin Laden, sitting there with his terrorists, doing some things from out of Pakistan and stuff. And you see how this country was able to go out there and find somebody else in another country. They found Saddam Hussein in somebody else's country. But we have many, many thousands of missing people here in the United States, and they claim they can't find them. That to me is almost like being a deadbeat dad. You're so busy worrying about other people's country and not taking care of your own. So, taking care of somebody else's family and not your own. So that type deal. And it shouldn't happen. Not here in the United States. We shouldn't have police officer in the force making all these excuses and accusations and why they got to drag their feet. There's a bunch of excuses. If it was their children, again, it wouldn't be no dragging the feet. They can say, man, I put myself in your shoes. I feel as a father. Those are words to me. Words to me don't mean anything. Don't mean a hill of beans to me until I see actions. I like words. People be nice and kind. But when it comes to my children and my son, words don't mean nothing to me until I see actions. So again, I guess you guys heard my spiel, my rant. If you would like to say it when you call it, I'm gonna get here to this Q&A. You guys have any questions and stuff like that, please feel free to ask those questions. I will be putting a link here. I don't know if it can come and show here off of this here, but I put a link here. I did this morning. I'm putting it on the bottom of the put it in the chats right now. And what the link is for is if you guys want to come on and ask a question or want to be on the screen itself. If it's too many people, of course I have to be selective and pick people as they come in. But if anybody want to actually come on, they can use that link, and I can let you be on the back end of the screen there, and I can let you come in and you can ask some of your questions if you like. But for the rest of everybody else, I will be make sure I get these questions off the comment section. And the way I do that is I come down that comment section and I look for the big capital letter Q or the word question or some question marks where I can see these questions and stuff like that. So if you guys have those questions, please by all means utilize that system to kind of help, especially those who have been here before. They know what I'm saying. It helps me find your question as I'm coming down. But at the same time, I like to tell some of you thank you for being here, like for the love of the horse. Thank you so much for your prayers. I really appreciate you coming out to this Q&A this evening, as well as Tanya. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, we got saying his name, Daniel Robinson. We got to make sure that justice is served, and for my son. Like I said, thanks so much, and I really appreciate hello to you as well. Thanks so much for your love and prayers, Tanya. Thanks so much. All right, T and Wildflower, thank you for being here as well. Good evening to you. Thank you, Aaron, for being here. Thank you for your love. I really appreciate that. God bless you. De Quinto, thank you so much for being here. Hello to you. And thank you. Yes, I'm doing the best I can, and God has been sustaining me ever since. Yes, I'm really doing well. So thanks so much. All right. Thank you, Shauna, for being here as well. Welcome to the Primetime Q&A. You guys as moderator, Shauna, moderator, I have my team here, moderator as well as team member, like I said, a board member, Shauna, thank you so much, as well as Sophia here. Thank you so much for you both being here in the Q&A. All right. Thank you, Cha Cha B, for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm trying the best I can. Thanks so much. Cosmic Shy, God bless you too. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Well, I'm lucky to have my son as well, my children. It's always wonderful to be a dad. I grew up in a different way, but when I became a father myself, that's the best day of my life. Became a father. So you guys who have children understand that. Thank you again, Shauna, for that. Thank you also, Larnell, board member, also team member. I really thank you so much for being here and supporting as well. All right. And if anybody have any questions, I will be coming down. I do have one from Aaron Chase. Thank you so much, Aaron, for your question. Definitely appreciate that. Deciding to come out and to the Q&A and support. Your question is, dear Mr. Robinson, how are you feeling today? Today I'm feeling okay. I started off this morning. If you guys are the first Q&A, it was a struggle. And I'll be honest with you. I said, oh God, why I had to do this Q&A today? I just don't feel it. But I have those moments. If you guys can understand, it's been a year. And every day I wake up, every night before I go to bed, it's mostly about finding my son, right? Sometimes I feel like a failure at it. I've been doing, despite of everything I have been doing since I've been here, sometimes I don't see it. It's even hard to imagine that it's been a year. And and I'm sitting here beating my brain up every day, trying to figure out new ways I can look for my son, new ways I can investigate, new ways I can come up with the money for the forensics work, for instance, new ways of all kind of things, try to get the word out, new ways to help other families as well as I'm doing this because I became passionate about other people. And so having all that, sometimes it wears on you, physical, just not that despite all the other things I have to take care of, my own personal life, outside of searching for my son, it's a lot. So, when you have to do that, it wears on you a lot. And the day was really rough. When I woke up this morning, had a lot of thought on my mind. Here it is going on another month next week that my son been missing. Here it is on the 19th, coming up on the day when his vehicle was found. So a year marks that for the vehicle being found. I thought about all of that stuff, and it kind of just destroyed my day in a sense. I was supposed to have seen this vehicle on the 19th, July 19th. I should have seen that vehicle in July for the first time, for Daniel showing it to me, and then I ended up seeing it on the 20th of this month when they showed it to me, and it was in the state. So yeah, so the day was kind of rough starting off. Like I said, I had to get my engines rolling a little bit, and I'm doing okay now. I'm not at 100% feeling good, but I'll tell you what, I'm doing okay. So thanks for asking. I really appreciate that. So if you guys have any more questions, please. I do see Cosmic Shy. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah, so you say how a parent of a missing child should be. Oh, yes, yeah, and that's it. We all, and I talked to a lot of families, and a lot of families going through this. It's not just something my family's going through. His mother, his siblings, my family, his mother's side of the family, going through. It's other families as well. It's not just unique what's happening in this case with my son. And that's why I say that's the reason why you guys know the Daniel Robinson Foundation, for instance, was birthed from just that, from my desire to help other families as well. So, that's what we had to do. Saying as a parent, you see some of these other people who have missing loved ones, and they're out doing just as much as I am too. Hey, making awareness to their person's case, fighting for their child. Saying a lot of times you see mothers. I'd like to see a lot more fathers as well, but you definitely see mothers out there fighting for their child. They doing everything they can possibly. So, but I want to stop real quick, and I want to say something. I do have put this on the bottom of the screen here. A day of remembrance is being rescheduled. I'm telling you guys, we planning another event this time. Hopefully that it goes through without incident, meaning that we don't have another Supreme Court decision or something that would kind of block the Day of Remembrance happening. You guys, from this point on, we will be promoting Day of Remembrance. We do have a meeting. I have a board meeting with the team, and we'll be discussing those dates again. We're waiting on approval from the city. I guess I don't know, the city council. One of the team members, they go apply, and we get those license to permit to have the event. So once we get those approvals, we will be putting that date and time up again. A Day of Remembrance. It would be on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com under the events tab as well. I'll be talking about it here. It'll be on social media. And we want you all to really, really plan. We'll give you time in advance planning so you guys can come out, no matter what city you're at, you can come out and support these families. And we really want you guys to reach out to some of these families and tell them about the Day of Remembrance, to come out and share their stories. We need them there. We have the resources there for these families to be able to utilize. And the fact that we come in as a family, you know what I'm saying, as all the missing people who have missing loved ones, we coming in as a family to be able to share our stories amongst each other, try to be a support group among each other. So A Day of Remembrance is definitely a event geared just for family. That means if you don't have a person missing, but you want to be there, there's a family-oriented thing. So we want to make sure we have that support from the community, and we also want to have those families to be able to come out and share their loved one's story, to use their platform of A Day of Remembrance. Don't forget about your loved one. We'll never forget them. And to bring awareness, use that platform to help you. So definitely going to be coming up really soon. I want you guys to do that, as well as you can right now. If you're new on this Q&A, your first time, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. That helps the algorithms. I'm really growing this channel. As I told you, I definitely have to have this channel moving. I had to have those numbers going up, and YouTube, the way I understand it, will help me get Daniel's story out farther. I'm trying to reach as many people as I can. That's the whole purpose of this Q&A. This whole purpose of this channel itself. Please help find Daniel. YouTube channel is not an entertainment channel. It's a channel to bring awareness to my son's case first. That's my first priority, and is also able to help other families if they want to come on the Q&A to share their family loved one story. They can do that as well. I thought I was going to have a family this today, talking to a gentleman. I kind of lost contact just with him coming in on the Q&A, but I will be reaching back out to him again sometime tomorrow and see if I can get him on the Q&A, or just have a separate time where he's convenient for him, and we'll do something here on this YouTube channel to get his story out there. So definitely need that support. Please hit that. Please share, like, subscribe before you leave. That definitely will help. Trying to get those things out there. So definitely need that. And don't forget about tip line. I'm going to leave that there for that person who knows what happened to my son and reluctant to say anything. It's for you. That tip line is definitely for that person to be able to use. You can stay anonymous if you like, things like that. So again, if you are interested, as Shauna put there, and to the ambassador program, please, I definitely need, as on the bottom of the screen as well, distribute those flyers out. That's the same thing. This is the outreach. This Please Help Find Daniel YouTube channel is outreach. The flyers is also outreach. And some of those events that I go to, I'll be going to events here in Arizona to bring awareness to Daniel's case. We have a whole canopy and everything, passing out flyers and stuff like that, putting awareness, send these flyers out. And those people who did those flyers are going out to you guys who asking for those flyers as well on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. At Yahoo. Please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. Interested in being an ambassador. I do have a cousin, for instance, who's taken over in my hometown to get those flyers out there. She's printing those flyers out, and she got them. You go, Please Help Find Daniel, or PDF if you want to print them out yourself, or we can send them to you. And she's get those flyers out. She said, "Hey, look, the flyers she can handle South Carolina, the area from where at, the city we're at from South Carolina, and she be getting those flyers out there." So I do need those ambassadors, the people who want to be able to do that for me, help get those flyers out. Because they help in the future, not just for me getting Daniel flyers out there, but also in the future helping other families who need these flyers out in these cities. So definitely building that infrastructure for that. And you guys want to be a part of that, please go to Please Help Find Daniel at yahoo.com. I'm trying to get a number of people so I can really talk to you all individual. Hopefully we can do a Zoom and stuff like that. I'm still saying that for weeks now. Still trying to get those numbers up. And I really appreciate those who already have asked and decided to do it. And I know you're still waiting, but it'll come that time where I can have that Zoom with you and stuff like that. So thank you so much. If you guys want to get in contact with me as well, on the bottom of the screen there, that's the number there. And there's also the Please Help Find Daniel at yahoo.com where you can reach out to me as well. So look forward to hear from you guys. If you can, if you want to reach out, you got other ways you want to help and you don't want to do the flyer distribution or whatever, any way that you help is helpful. You can go to Please Help Find Daniel as well under the helping the volunteer in other ways tab, and fill out that form. Fill out that form. That will help with the upcoming. Well, we do have the foundation already filed and everything there, but in the infancy stage. But that will help out with the foundation as well as helping me in my efforts to find Daniel. You put your skill sets there, and so we do have a lot of applications there as well. So please go on there and utilize that tab. Volunteer in other ways. If you live in a different city and you just cannot be here in Arizona, that helps as well. So upcoming fast and prayer for Daniel next Wednesday. If you guys can start putting a hashtag up on your YouTube channels, or all your social media channels, and to help the algorithms with that, and try to reach as many people I can, because I need that unity and that strength of all us praying and fasting together as for those answers, not just for Daniel but also other families. But it's called Fast and Prayer for Daniel. It'll be on this Q&A starting off next Wednesday. I started off with a prayer, as I always do, that Wednesday morning, and then I do an ending prayer Wednesday evening, and so you guys can join in then for that fast and prayer moment, because I really believe in that. So I really need your help on that as well. So going back to the and I would thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming out to the Q&A and supporting what I'm doing here. Definitely need that support all the time and every chance I can get in different ways. You guys, and please, if you can, also donate to help me keep my boots on the ground, and keep me doing exactly what I'm doing for my son. I'm really trying to reach that goal. If you guys can help me reach that goal on that GoFundMe, that would definitely change a lot of things for me right now. So you guys can really help me get to that goal much as possible. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much in advance. All right, going back to that tip line, and I'm going back to the comment section. Thank you, Shauna, for putting that up about the ambassador program. So that I would like to have there. And thank you also for putting this up as well, Shauna, about the fast and prayer. It's going to be Wednesday, July the 20th. You also, Sophia, thanks so much for putting that up there. I really appreciate you guys' these comments. I see the comments in the session. I want to get to those, but I'm looking for some of these questions. You guys have any questions and stuff, please feel free to ask these questions. Make sure you do like Lindsay done here. Put a capital letter Q there, or put the word question there in all caps some kind of way before your question, or just put some question marks, some kind of indication where I can actually find your questions, because I am coming down. I see your comments. Some of you all have been wanting to stop and say something to those questions, those comments, but I want to get to those questions. What are the best leads you have so far? Well, I have some leads, but those things I cannot share in the public, of course, for the obvious. You don't want to tip your hand to some things you do know. So some things I can't, a lot of things I can't describe on leads, but I did have one lead that I can discuss, and that was one being dismissed by the Buckeye Police Department. One guy come on the comment section of Twitter and been chasing me ever since to describe that someone murdered my son, basically. So we had those things looked at. I've been looking into it myself best way I can to my limitations, because I don't have certain rights, some abilities that the law enforcement would have. So of course I had to go to Buckeye with that, and I did press them on that. They claimed they did some research into that, and it came up empty-handed. This guy don't have no teeth to what he's saying. So that type deal. So I'm still looking to on my behalf. I just don't take that based on everything I know about the department. I'm not just taking that as this word of mouth to say, hey, that's all we found. We just looked into this and that, blah, blah. No, I need to find details of how they looked into it, as well as what did they look into, make sure that there's no validation to this guy's claim. So, but as it stands for right now, that's one of the leads that I had. Of course, I used to have a lot of leads where that end up leading to different places that didn't lead anywhere. I do have some old, long-standing leads that still is worthwhile keeping in mind. And I mean that I did look into those. So far, I haven't produced anything, but it's some things that I definitely have to keep in mind, the back of my mind all the time, so I can visit those areas every once in a while, see if there's any changes. So there's always leads. There's leads that come in. Like I said, you guys, they come from work. I've been sitting here working for a whole year, trying to find my son. So it didn't come empty-handed. It's a forward trajectory. It's just that I come to a dead stop because of forensics work that wasn't done. Don't have no information for that. Certain things I'm still waiting on my former investigator to give me that he either found or didn't find in my son's case. So some things he's been suggesting out there after the fact stopped working for me. He suggested out there in interviews that he liked to do. And so some of those things I would like to have evidence from. I would like to have those things that he claimed he have that should be given over to me. I paid for it. All right. So once those things happen, I definitely will have more things to go by. All right, thank you, Aaron, as well for your question. Have you drawn on a map 11 miles away from the crash site? There could be evidence. Yes, we did. That's one of a lot of my searches. My searches are based on that, and you know the 11 additional miles. And you know one thing I can say, my search was based on the well site first. Then it was based on when the vehicle showed up. There's the well site and the crash site where the vehicle was found. Those things, also the search is based on science. How far can a person actually walk? How far can they how far can they walk from that crash site on foot without actually collapsing or something? How far can a person walk barefooted, as suggested by these clothes that was put on the ground there? So it's based on that. And then when we got the information from my investigator, that's also been based on those 11 additional miles, like you said. And so we go 11 additional miles and start adding that into the grid that I have on my website. So all of that stuff you can find on the website, the area that we covered. And a lot of that been based on, like I said, that 11 additional miles was one of the factors that was put in from the well site, from this crash site. Now, the problem with that, though, is that because of what I do know, would suggest more so this is not where the 11 additional miles came from. The 11 additional miles, wherever happened, wherever that vehicle crashed at, that first initial crash 4 hours after my son went missing. That was around 1 o'clock. My son supposedly had left that well site like roughly around 9:15 that morning. Here it is around 1 o'clock. That vehicle, 1 o'clock, the vehicle was crashed. That was the first initial crash. So whatever happened from that well site and to that crash, after that point, the vehicle was driven wherever the vehicle's crashed. We don't know how far the vehicle went from that well site or where that first initial crash happened. But that's when you got to start counting that 11 additional miles after wherever the vehicle crashed at, and how far away from the well site or if it was at the well site, whatever the case may be. That's when the vehicles crashed. And then you have to add that 11 additional miles and then do an investigation based on that 11. That's the real 11 additional miles, in my opinion, where it should be searched. But we got to find out where that vehicle was crashed. And to say once I get those information like that, and I do have some indications of where, based on my own investigation. But like I said, I need this forensic work done to tie a lot of things into it. So I do have information. I do have suggestions there based on my own investigation. I believe I did a more thorough investigation than the police department, and I'm only one person. And so that would suggest I can use an example for you guys, something really minor that I don't mind releasing to the public. And I said it before. If somehow Daniel actually was at this well site with this guy at the well site on June the 23rd, and he said, my son he want to go back to Phoenix to rest. And it's funny how some people can try to villainize a person and make them a victim of their own circumstances by saying, Man, that's strange for a person to say they got to go home, want to go back home to Phoenix to rest. Like, what's really strange about a person saying that on the job? Yeah, hey man, let's go. We want to go back to Phoenix. I want to go back to rest, or you want to go back to Phoenix, go get some rest or whatever. My son could assume he was living in Phoenix or whatever the case may be. But he wanted to go to rest. What's wrong with a person saying they rest? Like they say, that's odd. He wanted to go rest. Like, what's odd about that? But if the Buckeye Police Department did a little homework, they would have found out that Instacart, my son been doing Instacart really late that night before, supposedly, according to what I found. And and the thing is, if a person working late and they had to get up really early to be at another well site at 7 in the morning and then go one at 9, you probably want to go home to, man, it's raining or it's about to rain or whatever you claiming, which I was gonna say really quick to it after this, but it's reasonable for a person to say, yeah, I'm tired. I don't want to be here today. I'm tired. Man, this might be a good way to just go ahead and leave. Let's go ahead and end this. But I can't tell you it didn't rain, according to you guys probably noticed I put that on. I did the research on that day. I had my my search coordinator at the time. He sent me a video of somebody who lived in Buckeye. I said, "Oh yeah, it was raining that day and all this kind of stuff." But according to the report, you guys, and according to the rancher himself, who found the vehicle, who lives out that way, it wasn't no rain. First of all, if it did rain in certain part of Buckeye, it wasn't out there in that desert area, but some part of Buckeye, the rain was so short, it probably didn't even last 1 or 2 minutes, first of all. The other part is out there where Daniel was located, this well site, it didn't rain at all on that day. So Buckeye haven't even done that little bit of research to find out if it was this man's story that it was raining even true. It wasn't raining. So those kind of things like that, just doing just simple investigative work. If you really want to find the answers, and that's not investigating, just saying you're investigating is not actually investigating. You can say what you want to say. Like, again, I say actions speak louder than words. I'm an actionary person, and I like to go do things by action. But the question is, have you drawn up the map? Yes, I did. We did that based on 11 additional miles. It was included into the way we're doing the searches out there in the desert. And I only had to do the searches out in the desert because that's the only thing we can go by is this initial story from the guy at the well. All right. Cosmic Shy, thanks so much for your question. I am sick and I'm not closer. I'm sick and I'm not closer. I'm not closer. I'm in Texas. That's okay. But I'm close to Jason Laundrie's case, 12 miles suspectedly. Have you heard of it? Yes, I have heard of the case. A lot of similarities there as well. Yes, I have heard the case, and I'm very sorry what's happened. I haven't heard what the latest on that case. I don't know if they actually found them yet or if what else transpired out of that. So I can't say, I don't have any full details, but I have been hearing a lot about that hit and miss, information here and there. There's a lot of cases I would like to get into as one, I think in Colorado somewhere. I can't remember the young man, that missing young man. I think he was a farmer or something out in the desert and went missing. I don't know the details. Like I said, I'm so busy trying to do things here. I don't get to really, get engrossed in other cases like I would like to. That's why, reach out to families. We can talk and things like that and catch up on each other's story. That helps out as well, so we can share it. But yeah, I did hear parts of that story, and it is similar to what happened to my son in his story. Things in that, but it's crazy for what I understand. The father had to go collect some things off the side of the road that the police department haven't. So it's a lot of bad things I see. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with calling out law enforcement. Some people are reluctant to, if it's your loved one and that person to depend on law enforcement, you need to ask questions. Don't just ever take anything a police department put on paper and put in a report and say that's what they did. Actions speak louder words. I call those things out and things like that. I don't take words. Black and white on paper don't mean nothing to me. It ain't worth the paper they wrote it on without actions or anything else. So evidence that they actually did so and so. Just like I will find out if the so-called Phoenix Firebird, and that puts Phoenix there. That put Phoenix involvement, right? That means they had to go get outside agency that never reached out to me. I talked to Phoenix mayor. I talked to, and they have not one time said, "Yeah, we sent our helicopter out there to search for your son." So I would find that out as well. Like I said, I don't really believe they did that. I think that's a falsification report. That's my opinion, and I would like to see that when that happens. All right, and I doubt with the Justice Department's on Phoenix, they'll lie for Buckeye. So I'll find out. All right, but Lindsay, thanks so much for your question as well. Are you still working with investigator or made any more progress? Well, but my own investigator, but as in with Buckeye, I'm not. The only thing I work with them as well. Like I said, they don't reach out to me at all. Only time I hear from them is I reach out to them, and then he'll call me back or something. But I reached out to, like I said, the last tip I had last time I spoke with that department. But no, I'm not working with them because they're not working, in my opinion. So there's no need to be held back in what I'm trying to do. There's no need to have more damage done to my son's case than what already has been done. So I definitely need to try to focus my attention on get my son's case removed to a different department. All right. All right. Thanks, Sophia, for putting it up. You guys have signed the petition with your voice. There's 118,412 voices. You guys, if you want to sign that petition multiple times, you can by utilizing. If you have more than one email address, you can do it multiple times. I always look at that as, you're increasing your voice louder, and so I really need that petition signed. It's been growing ever since I've created that petition. It's growing based on everything that's happening as I'm doing my search for my son, and and having that, you guys, when you sign it, when I update it, what I'm doing now, for instance, and you guys sign it, you're supporting at that moment what I'm from that point on everything I've been doing from day one, and there's a lot of reasons why I have that petition, and then it's going to be utilized for a lot of different things. God knows what He's doing, it'll be utilizing for a lot of things that will come to pass in the future. So definitely, please, guys, if you can sign that petition, that really will help. All right, I think I do have a. Okay, no, that's not a question. I see some question marks in the background. I'm not sure if. Let me look at this anyway. From you, Callie. Okay, hold on a second here. I don't want to make sure that I don't have. Okay, I'm just looking at this because you have some question marks on the back end. I'm not sure. And I'll tell you guys, if you have any questions, please put the question mark there first. Put big capital letter Q or the word question. That helped me find it. I'm assuming that was a question there, Callie's, and I just grabbed it. I just happened to see it because I could have missed it. But thank you for asking your question. We say, what about car seat distance on both sides? And that's the thing, that's why I'm waiting. Again, I'm waiting on some of those information from my former investigators, more so because he's the accident reconstructionist. So I really need those answers as well. Did anybody look into that? I haven't touched that vehicle. I can't go do it myself. And I do that on purpose. I haven't seen that vehicle only twice. And that was because the Buckeye Police Department showed it to me, Detective Biffin, and then also my former investigator showed it to me in the secure facility where it's at now, and so that type deal. So I don't know about the distance and getting those measured, but I'm sure and hoping he did that when that's what he got paid for, to be able to do those things. So I would love to have those information as well, but I don't have any information about car seat. I do look at the seat belt still locked. I would like to be able to look at the distance of a body of this something somebody's locked those still that seat belt to say, oh yeah, he had a seat belt on and it's dangling because he unlatched himself and got out, as a setup to make it appear that way, and then actually put that seat belt where it's locked and put it into that seat belt and actually see if a person actually can fit between that distance and the seat itself and the seatbelt, and that would tell a lot if somebody did it after the fact. But they don't do that either because wasn't intending to find out what happened to my son. Like I said, you guys, you put what you want to in the report, but as you actually doing the work to figure those things out, you're not doing an investigation. Investigation would entail a lot more. Maybe I need to teach these Buckeye Police Department detectives how to do a job in investigating and to look at things in an open way and try to find out those answers. What makes sense and what don't make sense. Like it don't make sense for my son's clothing to sit out there, saying that's his clothing, sitting out there inside our pants, and certain things, the boots tuck under here and this there, and there's a whole case of water, and and it's a hard hat filled water with a business card in that ain't dissolved, all this kind of stuff. So things don't make sense, and you're not asking yourself these questions. You ain't trying to find those answers. You're just trying to do the minimum you can to say, like I told you again, I look so I could write, yeah, I came out there and I did this. I walked around, I was looking around, and so you can come back to the car and say, yep, I was out there looking. Yeah, you was out there looking, but you didn't go look. You didn't look at all. You was at the scene and taking pictures, but you didn't do any forensic work. You didn't do the hard job to find out if it makes sense. This guy's story, first of all, makes sense. Why is the vehicle just showing here after 30 days? Why we didn't see it when we did 2 searches? Why the rancher saying it wasn't there 2 to 3 days? Why, if it was there and the so-called rain was happening to fill up a hard hat with water, why there's no water that ran under this vehicle and no debris caught up on it? Because that vehicle become like a dam. That is a ravine where water travels to go to the Hassanpa River. Why is there no debris collected there? Why didn't the cattle stop? Or why, that kind of answer those questions to say, no, this vehicle was planted here. It came out the fact, and we got to find out why. It was none of that. It was that the only thing they had was some excuses because they didn't want to do nothing. Oh, your son didn't have he didn't get hurt because he had a seatbelt on. That's the good news. It rolled and twisted and did all the stuff. He was moving his hands, telling me. Moving his hands. Oh, it was rolling, flipping, twisting, this and that. But the good news is we feel like he didn't get injured because we didn't see any blood in the vehicle. Then they turn around and say he had, but at the same time, same breath, say they believe he had a severe head injury, brain injury. And that would make you shred your clothes off when you got a brain injury and you get hot and all of this stuff. So, but then they gave me everything, the evidence bad marked for safekeeping, meaning that even with a head injury and he out there butt naked somewhere, he's come back for his things. Here's his things right here. We're done. We have no leads to follow. Or we don't have no investigation. It's over. So they weren't intending to find out what happened to my son, but they are trying to pretend like they are now and try to dress it up as they was always doing that. Because you guys, have I not been a father, been here for a year fighting for my son, it would have been just that. It would have been, they would have been in South Carolina. They would have said, just give us a little final report. Ain't nothing else we can do. We go by our way, you go on by your way, and that's in the story. And I'd be one of those family members talking about, I have a son that's missing. He's been missing for a year now, and I haven't done the work. I haven't done the hard work to come out here and try to push these departments, challenge them, and make them do the right things, which they still haven't, and challenge these people to do their job. They might not like me. I don't like them either if you're not doing the job that you're supposed to. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to win a popularity contest with the police department when my son is missing, and I don't feel like they're doing their job the right way they're doing it. So, I don't care about their feelings and what they think about me. All I care about them doing their job. That's it. Bottom, point blank. So, thank you so much. Yeah, I will be checking to that if I could. Maybe a new investigator can do that to check into those kind of stuff. All right, let me see here. And then I think you have one more here to add to that as well. I just happen to see that as well. So also University of Arizona Geology Club and groups to volunteer. I don't know what that really means, but I'm sure that's part of some question that you're about to ask. But if you can re-ask that question for me, that'll help out. You also can put the question there, the Q there, capital letter Q, or the question mark or the word question before your question, that'll help. But thank you, Mary. I really appreciate you coming in for this Q&A. Did they confirm coworker didn't do something? Did they confirm the coworker? Okay, well, I don't know if you mean the and see, that's the thing is, I think a lot of story about my son's story from the well site getting all messed up because we keep calling this guy that my son met up with a coworker, all right? And I think it's almost like I think a lot of people define coworker 2 different ways. Me personally, I don't call him a coworker. I call him the worker or the guy at the well site that was my son last seen. That was working with my son at the well site. My son and this guy, they work for 2 different companies. My son is a geologist. That man is not a geologist, as far as I know. He's a well guy. What they do is they build these wells and put them in the ground. It's the company he worked for called Weber. My son worked for a company called Matrix New World. They're an engineering company. They hire geologists. to do what my son do. And so what get mixed up, like for instance, this morning I was telling people how they assume when they say, oh, the coworker went to my daughter's house to see if Daniel was there, and they're thinking it's the guy at the well site because they use the word coworker, right? No, this coworker that went to my daughter's house, for instance, is a coworker that works with a Matrix, same company my son do, and it's not only that, he's a friend of my son. So I could like to say, friend, Daniel's friend, or coworker friend of his, came out to my daughter's house, but not the guy at the well site. He didn't come to my daughter's house. And also, if you ask a question about did they confirm or did he do anything or not? I don't know. As far as I understand it, the Buckeye Police Department decided to take his word for it, just like they took the lady's word for it when she uploaded her own text messages into their report. They put in their report hearsay stuff. All right. So so that was even before they allowed her to do that before the vehicle showed up. So they can't say, "Oh yeah, we verified it with the cell phone. That's why his cell phone. That's why we put it." No, y'all did. They did it way before they even found the cell phone. The cell phone was even this vehicle's found. So so they can't be that. They cannot utilize that. But the thing is, like I'm saying, as far as I understand, I went through the man's story and it don't sound right. I did the hard work. I did the drive through. I did the videos you guys put on this YouTube channel, actually walking through what this guy's story is that my son just waved off and just drove. I did the hard work of seeing if it's possible to follow tracks that he claimed he saw go out west, and that's where my son went. And the way he described it, take you right to this ravine, where my son's vehicle is going to eventually be found. But definitely, I follow the story that he meant, and it don't add up to me because it's a lot of tracks out there, and then they coming, and then I'm sure it come from their vehicles as well as other vehicles that travel through there. So those trails that's out there are heavily traveled from time to time, and those tracks I've seen some tracks where we just created some trails out there because we was out there searching that we'd be going, like the ranch said, those trails wasn't there prior to Daniel going missing, but we also created some tracks because we constantly riding over, and eventually it turns to dirt. And then you see those tracks. Those tracks are still sitting there for months. I see tracks from last year that I know nobody didn't travel through because we take some little shortcuts to get places, and those tracks are still there. We went through a monsoon season and went through certain things in those tracks there. So it's hard to see this guy's claiming that some significant rain happened and it must have washed away tracks. We didn't even have no rain that day, but the Buckeye Police Department just took his story out, probably even looking at the weather report for that day. So to see if it even rained, which it didn't. So that comes into question the way they approached my son's case. Like I said, without actually doing the job, actually saying we did this. Oh, I talked to this worker. Oh, I did this and I did this, but they didn't go farther. They didn't verify the story. You can talk to whoever you want to, but did you verify the truthness of that story? Did you corroborate that story? No. This person said that, end of story for them. But they conveniently left out the fact that this rancher said the vehicle wasn't there. They leave out the fact in their report that the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior. They also leave out the fact that they didn't find the vehicle out there in their so-called searches. And also they leave out anything that suggests that that vehicle wasn't there, like we know it wasn't there. They made sure that didn't make it into the report somehow. Or we didn't have no ping locations of the cell phone. They want you to forget about that. Oh, we can't find we got all 0 grids off this vehicle that got a Uconnect system in there that can tell you where this vehicle was located. All that stuff conveniently is unavailable. So you ask yourself those questions: why? Why all this? Or now we don't have the video footage of the Waffle House. We only have still videos, pictures like we gave you. Like Waffle House gave them a whole bunch of pictures. Oh, now we don't have no video of the gas station pump of the $2, whatever, the $2, $3 of gas that's supposed to be being pumped that we seen. Why is that? You got to start asking yourself a logical question. Why is that coming from a police department claiming all the stuff that's anything that can show any kind of evidence? It can't get it or non-existent, that type deal. So conveniently, in my opinion. So that type deal. All right. Question here from Karita. Thank you so much, Karita. I really appreciate you. Hello to you. Thank you again for coming out and your support and everything you do. Hi, David. You are doing a great job searching for Daniel. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm trying. Like I said, I have my moments where I don't feel like I'm doing good enough because, it's been, it's hard. I'll just say it like this. I try to find ways I can do better. All right. If we eliminate the co-worker's word about Daniel, do we know if he made it to work? There's some things I do know. Like I said, you guys, I've been doing investigating on my own. I do have a lot of things. I don't know who to share it with. Of course, I'm definitely ain't gonna share it with the Buckeye Police Department because I feel like I said, we shared something before, and you see what happened. Me and my investigator found the red transfer paint. We found the impressions of the damage didn't match the vehicle. We found the 11 additional miles that they should have found on their own black box recording that they pulled. We found all this, information that suggests the vehicles is planted there. And as soon as they got that information, I mean, they was talking to me all the time. Hey, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Robinson. And as soon as I went and got my own investigator, and we found the sock that matches the sock and the evidence back that they collected. As soon as all that happened, we played around. We had suspicions. My investigator had suspicions about the Buckeye Police Department. He's a former police officer. He didn't like the way they were doing things. It didn't seem right what they were doing. It seemed kind of odd and kind of strange what they were doing. We suggest some certain things I'm not going to say here. And he was reluctant to give, but we needed law enforcement. Like I said, you guys, I'm stuck at certain areas that I do know some things, and I can't go farther because I don't have those arresting powers. I cannot go grab somebody and interrogate them and things like that. So even as an investigator, a private investigator has its limitations. So we need law enforcement, and so we had no choice but turn all those evidence that suggests foul play. And what they did with it, they doubled down on their no foul play. They doubled down against the evidence that say the vehicle was planted there because the vehicle wasn't even there, according to the rancher, as well as the data that was pulled. The first initial accident happened 4 hours after. There was 11 additional miles. All that stuff don't match this making it to this ravine. But instead of doing that, instead of them actually accepting that fact and really looking for and changing this case to be criminal in nature and go find out what happened to my son, they doubled down. They went to go hire them. Instead of utilizing resources to help me in my search that I've been begging for months, equipment to go do these search these wells and mines and get these drones, specialized drones and stuff that I've been asking you guys for. Instead of them doing that money and tax money to use it there, they use our tax money to get their own private investor. I had one already after the reconstruction, a really good one. They got their own. They went through a stream to rebut his findings, trying to. Which they rebutting. This is the way they rebutting. They been go find this guy and say, "Oh, he's this high whoever he is," and I'm not gonna say his name. But if he's such a great investigator, how can you make a full report on something you never seen? He have never seen my son's vehicle, never asked to see it, never seen the damages on it. He's going by some third-party pictures from that he's gotten from, I guess, the Buckeye Police, same pictures I'm using. And third-party stuff, right? Never investigated himself, never physically look at the physical damage, never even mentioned the red transfer paint because he hadn't seen himself as well. So he made a full report. And then the insulting part is he went to a dealership. He didn't call Jeep himself, the manufacturers, and find out about the discrepancies on their vehicle to see if it's a recall or not. No, he went to a Jeep dealership, knocked on, I'm sure, some worker there at some Jeep dealership shoulder and asked them questions to get the answers that they want and put in their report. Yeah, the man, expert at Jeep said, according to Chief Hall, expert at Jeep said these things happen. Like, really? An expert at Jeep dealership, Jim Hudson dealership, or some off-brand name dealership, whatever, somebody's dealership. You trying to tell me you went to some dealership to ask them about something about my son's case that's very important. You didn't go to the manufacturers. That's insulting to me as a father. That's the kind of way that was all done, in my opinion, just to make sure they want their story to stick so bad that my son, that accident happened there in that ravine, right? The first initial crash. And for whatever reason, that would be soon to find out as well. So what I'm saying is, as we limited all that stuff, I do have information about a lot of things. But like I said, it would be going to the right persons whenever they're ready to hear it and ready to deal with it. So, do we know if it made it to work? I would not want to answer that question yet, Karita. Me and you can talk about it on the back end. Were you able to verify that? Do you know who was the last person to see him before the coworker? Was it his neighbors? I did talk to the neighbors. Of course, that's part of my investigation as well. The funny part about it, those neighbors said Buckeye Police Department had never asked them any questions. So, far as to date, I don't know. But I do know sometimes, some weeks after my son was missing, the Buckeye Police Department has never approached any neighbors at all in investigating to see if they have any involvement with my son's disappearance. But I have information from them as well in my investigation that I'm not sharing with them as well. So yeah, I definitely have. I know I don't work for the Buckeye Police Department. First of all, I want you guys to understand that it's not my duty or my job to help them investigate something they should have been doing on their own. Of course, I'll try to help. I gave them all the information I can, but I saw, like I said, what they did with that investigation, and I'm not giving them anything else. I don't work for them like that. For them to take my investigation or my evidence and my information and then try to twist it any way they can to try to push it back into my son went missing on his own, and he did this to himself some type of way, some type of dealing. So I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm too intelligent for that, and I'm not going to let that my son. Like I said, I'm not going to let this happen. I'll just put it that way. I don't care who they are. I don't care who they are. A gun and a badge don't scare me. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for your question, Karita. If we got anybody else have any more questions, please, by all means, ask these questions. I really like to answer your questions if I can. That's what the Q&A is for, to answer some of these questions. I do see a lot of comments there, and I'm really strolling down the best way I can. And if I miss your question, I apologize, but I am looking forward to these questions here. I'm trying to get as many as I can before I have to get off of the Q&A for tonight. But I do have one from RQ. I do see it here. Thank you, RQ, for your question. Is there red and yellow transfer paint on the Jeep? Yes, it's a smidgen of yellow, but yes, definitely red transfer paint. Is there body damage on those spots? Yes, they are. My investigator did find that vehicle came in contact with something that put that red transfer paint there, and it wasn't in the desert. And then some people will say, "Oh yeah, well, what it was a tow truck?" We did look into that as well. The towing company that pulled my son's vehicle never ever had anything red on their vehicle that would rub off on that vehicle. So that's the thing that was searched into as well. I do make sure I got pictures of that as well on their websites looking back. No, they never had on any vehicles that would have put that red transfer paint. So we ruled that part out, it being the tow truck and things like that. So again, just wanted to ask you guys if you can, with your questions. I'm really looking for some more information put out. I do have this from Barry. Thank you for being here, especially as well. From the foundation standpoint, being a board member as well as a team member. Please remember to preface your question with the symbol question mark, or type the word question, or to make it easy. Yeah, to make it easy for me to see it. You guys, if you guys can do that, that definitely, as I'm coming down, I actually can see your question. I don't want to miss your questions. I really want to answer your questions. So that do help out when you guys do that. RQ have another one here. Thank you, RQ. I wonder about Ken supposedly spray paint red rocks and how that may or may not have to do with the red transfer. I thought about that a many times as well. When I backtracked that story that he gave, I looked for any rocks that he painted with those red paint that he told me about. I have never found anything like that in the desert. So wherever he did it at, or where he claimed he did it at, I have never found these rocks with marking red paint. Now I can tell you the weird part is there were some, and I can't remember if it was red or not, but I do know the yellow and blue, if I can remember correctly. You're coming off of Sun Valley Parkway, and you're coming into that desert. You have to drive west for a mile before you get to that T junction. where you can go to the right to go north, to go that 2 miles to get the well site. But when you come to that T-junction to make that turn right, they used to have some little rocks on the ground, spray painted rocks. And that was the way that people, you passing, going really fast, you don't miss that turn. Because if you miss that turn, there's also a second turn that leads somewhere else. It's a power line, we call it road, where after you make that, past that T-junction, where that turnoff is, there's another one a few feet, 100 feet after that, where you can turn off as well. But like I said, it's a power line where the electric company came in, I guess, to put those power lines in. And so I guess so you won't miss that. Those workers, maybe Weber or maybe Matrix, I don't know, but they put those rocks there, I guess, so you pass by, you won't miss the turn. So, but they're gone. Now they're gone. All those rocks and things like that are gone. So I don't know. I don't know if that was something that was there, can be used as evidence as well, but they're gone now. We like to try to remember the exact colorings. I do remember the yellow and also a blue, but I can't recall if there was any red rocks sitting there to kind of, hey, this way you turn in at or not. So I don't know what he meant by that and what he did with those rocks or whatever the case may be. I haven't seen any. All right, Lindsay, thanks so much for your question. Do you have any photos of the vehicle you are able to share? Yes, there's a lot. We have a lot. I share a lot of them, especially with some of the news organizations. They have a lot of those. I do put a lot. I thought I put a lot here as well as social media. But yeah, I have plenty pictures of the vehicle itself. Some I don't put in purposely, because some of so much detail on the interior, what's going on in the interior of the vehicle. Those are ones I don't put so much, unless Buckeye do it. I don't put so much that kind of stuff out there, because there's a lot of things that can be used as evidence and stuff like that. I don't want the person who responsible to be able to look at that and try to come up with something. But yeah, I don't put a lot of that out, but I put the exterior out more so. There's a hard hat I may be able to put out there as well. But but some of that stuff, yeah, I don't put everything out there. But yeah, I have plenty. I have a lot I can share. A lot of I can't. All right. Let's see here. I do have a question from Angie Baby. Thank you for being here from on the YouTube side. I really appreciate your question here. Was it Daniel's first time meeting this other coworker? Yes, it was his first time. Of course, he got, from my understanding from his company, he got the guy's number from the company. It was a part of they have a work laptop, and he get his assignments. And on that work laptop, he was able to get that information to this, call this guy, Ken, that was already at the well site waiting, supposedly, right? And to get directions how to get there off of Sun Valley Parkway. And so he did. So if yes, could he judge his supposed behavior that morning? And that's the thing, this guy, he's not only a well driller, he's also a psychologist, a therapist, if you may say. He's also a physician, because he's been knowing my son only roughly 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, he was able to say my son was acting strange. He's also say he looked in my son's eyes to see if they were dilated. This is a black man. You guys cannot, you look at my eyes, you probably think my eyes are black. My eyes are brown. And most black people, we have dark brown eyes, right? And anytime you want to see anything without dilated pupils or not, you would literally have to use a flashlight to see our pupils, right? The little flashlight or something to see our pupils. You're not going to see our pupils with our dark brown, eyes, right? And so that means if he's looking at my son's eyes to see if they're dilated, he had to take a flashlight. And so my son had to sit back and he said, "Hey man, put the flashlight, look in his eye." I doubt my son would ever allow him to do that. He didn't mention it, first of all, and my son would not sit there and let somebody look in his eyes to see if they're dilated. And also this guy said that like I said, he's been a psychologist and as well as a doctor. So and judging my son based on a 10-minute conversation. And it strikes me. I mean, it ain't more so of what he says. It's also is what the Buckeye Police Department allow. Right? They allow that comment, that suggestion, without vetting that. Even using common sense with that, and just went with it and put in a report. That is really crazy to me. Um, a bank robber could rob the bank, and he was standing out there and running out from the scene. He said they stopped him and said, "Yeah, I just left there and I ran and got the hell out of there." And they just right, yeah, we found one witness say he was running out there after the bank robber, but he actually the bank robber. They didn't look in the story to see if he was actually the bank robber or not. So I look at it just that way. I look at it just that way, and that's what I'm seeing from the way they approached it. And I keep going over that over and over again. But yeah, that's the first time they met. My son didn't know this guy, but this guy was able to some kind of way judge him, to say, oh, he brought up the fact that my son said he's tired or something, or he want to go rest or whatever the case may be. I mean, what's strange about that? I mean, why they even brought up and yeah, he was acting strange, and he said he was tired. I think that was weird, and that's the reason why he went off and off himself or something. He just disappeared because he was tired. I mean, it don't make sense to me. So there's a lot of things. But yeah, definitely the first time they actually met. All right. I do have another question here from Lindsay. Is there a website or someone that has AI updated information? Let's say AI updated information. I'm trying to understand that part of it. But if you look for pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, where I have some information there, that's some of the information that you can go by about the story. As in updated stuff, you can come here and I definitely talk about my son's case. So I don't know if that's what you mean by your question, but if you can rephrase that, if you mean something totally different, that'll definitely help me out. But thank you so much, Lindsay, for your question. And thank you so much for also being part of this Q&A. Yeti Con, thank you so much again for your double support, your constant support. Where is the vehicle at this time? I cannot tell you that. My son's vehicle is in the secure location. You guys, I'm telling you now, things like that, I would not be able to tell you where my son's vehicle is, how it's stored, and all that kind of stuff. My son's, despite a Buckeye, they don't have nothing to investigate with, but I have things to investigate with. And those facilities or things like that cannot be discussed. Of course, it's obvious. So I won't be able to answer a question like that. All right. But thank you so much for the question itself. Guys, if you can, please go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, hit that donate button if you can, because I really need all the donation that I can. I need to reach this goal as soon as possible for me to continue my efforts. If you guys can please do that for me. I don't like to ask, and I talk to my team. I see Shauna put that here, and I thank you, Shauna, because we talked about that. It's one of those things I don't really enjoy doing, is asking for help on funding. But guys, I definitely need that. I need all the help I can, because I'm really pushing some things right now to try to make sure I can continue doing what I'm doing. So if you guys can help out in any kind of way, little, a lot, it don't matter, something, saying that'll help out as much as possible. I really appreciate it if you can do that for me to keep me here. It's been a year. You guys helped me for an entire year, so I'm really grateful. Really grateful for that. I do see this right here. I just want to put it up. Yeah, the Daniel Robinson Foundation is a thing, so you guys looking out for that. Look out for the launch date. We do have it coming up pretty soon. So that's something else in the events tab. You guys were looking up. We will have a launch date. And so when that happens, you guys will hear about it. Also, Sean, thanks for putting it here. Also, you can donate through Cash App, and that's the Cash App thing. I don't mention Cash App much because a lot of people did. A couple people, several people, most likely. I can't remember the exact number, but was asking about Cash App. because they didn't want to donate to the GoFundMe because fees come out. And so one thing I can say, I understand that, and that's the reason why I decided to give people two options. I don't mention Cash App much because, I try to keep it, like I said, again, I don't like to ask so much, and I try to keep it as one platform to ask for donation when I have to. And but because people ask about the Cash App, that's the reason why I started that Cash App. But it's not reflected on the website. It's reflected on the Twitter. But that is the address for the way the Cash App, I guess, work. And since you guys can utilize that if you want to. And also, if you go to, I want to say one thing as well. If you go sign a petition, it will say something about donating and stuff. Don't donate if you don't want to the to that unless you want to, like I said. But it don't come to me. In other words, if you donating to the petition, I forgot the name of it now. But you donated to that petition that I have on policehelpfinddaniel.com. I mean, you sign a petition, and then you see the donation thing come up. That donation thing is not for me; it's for the actual platform, the way they're continuing their efforts. I'm not saying don't donate to them, but I want you to know that you're not. If you really was intending to donate to me, the efforts I'm doing is not coming to me. That donation will not come to me, not a dime of it. So, if you are donating that, you're helping that platform continue to provide a petition type deal for people. So which not a problem for me. Try to help that company out as you want to, but just don't get confused and thinking that your donation is coming to me and it's not. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that as well with that petition. You don't have to donate the petition if you don't want to. But if you do, just understand it's not coming to me. It's not helping this efforts to find my son. All right. Outside of the petition, it's sitting there. All right. So also you can go to policehelpfinddaniel.com if you guys want to get the flyers or you to print the flyers out. That PDF is there for you to print that flyers out to help me get those flyers out into your city. Please visit that website, policehelpfinddaniel.com. Also, I have a question here from Kate. Any ideas on how to put pressure on LE? The phone calls, the continued phone calls and asking. If you guys can follow everything I'm doing here in my request, and my request is to get the Buckeye Police Department to move my case over to a new jurisdiction outside of Buckeye. All right. I wanted definitely moved over. I prefer the FBI to really come in to do my son's case, being at the vehicle here on federal land as well. Get them involved in my son's case. And also want to, if all that's fell as well, somebody, Maricopa County to, I am working with Tempe. My son is a resident of Tempe, and for them, my son went missing as a resident of Tempe. And so to be honest with you, they should have taken my son's case at the beginning. So it shouldn't have been Buckeye in the first place. So you guys can help to be understanding. So that's what I'm really asking is preferably Tempe taking over my son's case as well as Maricopa County. All right. So I'm looking for that right now. That's what I'm working on. All right. If you guys can do that, express that when you do make your phone calls, your letters and things like that, you can express, in my opinion, that the Buckeye Police Department haven't done their duty. Matter of fact, they did a lot of damage to my son's case, and I don't need them to continue to handle my son's case and continue their damage, in my opinion. So definitely want to get that removed as soon as possible so my son can have a chance of being found, a chance to, get to find out what happened and things like that. Thank you, Larnell. I really appreciate it. You are telling the truth, David. Police officer, police department, departments lie. They do, and I do. That coming from former law enforcement. You're a former law enforcement officer, so it happens. And I think I look in, and I don't want to bring up other cases, but I was just hearing a little bit about that school shooting with those children, and it's a shame they had watched a police department hiding. I was in Afghanistan. I remember being a gunner. I'm a gunner, and when we had firefights, I remember the first firefight, the real one, major one I had. We have never, ever had somebody shooting at us, and we start retreating. We go towards the gunfight. That's us. We're Americans, And whenever the Taliban would attack us, we get hit by IED, and they like to ambush. And if sometimes we had a vehicle stall, and they started popping shots at us. Our gun truck saying, "Hey, everybody, get in your vehicle." We just taking off trying to get the hell out of there. No, we go to the firefight. We take control. We overwhelm them with suppressive fire, and we go on and handle that situation. So we definitely don't run away from. I have bullets passing my head. I can hear it. That scared me the first time. I never ever really. That's when the reality hits you in the head. These people really trying to kill you. But I'm saying we wasn't running away. We always go towards the danger, and that's your job. You say you're law enforcement, you sign up for it, you raise your right hand out, or however they do it. I know we did in the military. You say you serve and protect the community. It's your job to possibly die for your community. And I don't feel sorry. When you say you want to do a job, you be a law enforcement officer, do your damn job. Don't be a wuss and run away from danger when people's lives are being endangered, and you're the only thing that's come between them and life itself, and you're running away. So when I saw that, and I hear about that, it's very disturbing to me to see law enforcement run, and then they try to lie about it and cover it up and things like that. It happens. It happens. I'm not saying that all officers are crooked and all the kind. I'm not saying that, but again, I said this one time before. If you have a department and you see certain things going on in your department and it's not right and it's wrong, and you don't say anything about it, then you're just as much as a bad cop as that bad cop that you're defending, you covering up for. So you're a bad cop for doing that. You need to get it out your department and do your job and things like that. When they haven't done their job for my son case, with assumption, that first assumption caused my son to not be found to this date. That first assumption, he's a grown man, he can disappear if he wants to. They have never ever told them that. There's no evidence to say Daniel wanted on the first day. On the second day that my son was missing, the next morning, you literally, with no information, to say my son wanted to go away on his own. Like, come on now. And that's an assumption that caused my son to be missing to this day. So, like I'm saying, it happens with his department, and to make sure, I do have this Nancy Drew here. Thank you. Also, have you been on News Nation with Ashley? I've been on a lot of News Nation, and that name sounds familiar, so most likely, yes. That was a question there. I was so happy to pick a question. I saw the question mark somehow, but if you could put that question mark next time on the beginning, that helped me find it. But News Nation, I did a lot of interviews with News Nation, so I just lost track of different anchors and reporters and stuff I talked to, but it's a lot of them. So I did many of those. But thank you. All right, Kate M., thank you for your question. Do you believe Ken when he said Daniel left his work site without saying a word? No, I don't believe him. I don't believe his story, and I can be honest with that. I don't believe his story at all. And I stopped believing the story when I actually had to look at logic and common sense and all the stuff I do have in my investigation, as well as the fact of me going and tracing that story on my own, and looking at the weather report now. No, I don't believe the story at all. All right. RQ, what is taking so long to get the PI's report? When will you get it? I don't know. I don't know if it takes so long as well, but there's some things I had to work out in the background with my former investigator, and that's what helping me from a new investigator trying to get information as well, because I can't pay for something over again. What I'm saying? It's impossible to get some of the things that should have been given to me when he decided to go away. Those things should have been given to me, but that's some things I can't discuss here. But it's definitely something I need, and I will be pressing for that. So, all right. So, and I thank you, Larnell, for putting that out. I didn't want to really necessarily say who you are, but of course, yes, you're one of the witnesses there as well. To hear some of those things that was told to me and turned out not to be true. So you see a lot of things in the report that turns not to be true. All right. L. Servit, thanks. L, thanks so much for being here. I don't want to say your last name incorrectly. Thanks for your question. Any possibility Daniel is in Mexico? Anything's possible. Like I said, From my understanding, from two different ways I look at it. I look at from what we have based on what Buckeye calling it. So I had to go two different ways, and then I had to also go from what I found out in my own individual investigator with if some of the stuff I got from my former investigator as well as I got now from investigation and in my own personal investigation. I had to go by what I do know, and parts of it would suggest that um, I don't want to say it is so. I just have to search the desert, and then searching the desert would say I'm not searching for Daniel alive, right? But there is possibility that if something happened to my son, he was put out there just like the vehicle's put out there. He was put out there post after incident, and so I had to search that desert for him, right? But when it comes to him being alive now, and reason why we're not finding him, yeah, it's anything possible. And I would not rule out Mexico. I would not rule out some human trafficking or something. I would not rule out any of that stuff. So I just don't know yet on that, and I'm looking for those answers as well. All right. All right. And so let's see. Um, I want to see. I'm just really interested in this question. There's not really a question, but a thing you put there, Dodge Fender. Afterwards, I just kind of quit. I couldn't really read it, so I'm going to read it here. The Buckeye Police Department posted a picture of Daniel on Twitter, 6/23, 22. Okay, but anyway, I left a public outing of their lies. Please, everyone, go to second page and let's call them to the table. Let's publicly hold them accountable. And I really want to understand that because you said they put a picture of Daniel on Twitter on this year on 6/23 on his on I guess I don't go on their page. So yes, you said you put it on their public outing of their lives. So and one thing they're doing is like I told you guys, they have a PR person. I'm sure they have their attorneys and you name it, and they really doing a lot of damage control and things like that. I mean, that's what departments do, right? So that's not something shocking or new that they have to do and try to make themselves look good and everything else they possible, whatever they can do. But my son's still missing. Again, I keep going back over there again. I don't give a rat's ass what that department is doing. Try to make themselves look good. It don't mean nothing to me. It don't mean a hill of beans. I just need to find my son. And if they're not doing the efforts to find my son, then I'm calling them out. And that's going to happen. I don't care about some PR thing to make themselves look pretty somehow or caring. And these people care. I'll tell you, I'll say it again, actions speak louder than words. I have been here for a year, finding human remains out there in the desert, bringing their citizens together, their citizens donating in their jurisdiction, doing all those things. And not one time that mayor of Buckeye, the vice mayor, city council, the city manager, assistant city manager, none of them, none of the officials, Chief Hall and the rest of them, the department ever came out to give their any kind of support, even moral or verbal support. Hey, sorry you're going through this. We're doing the best we can, or we're going to help out, or whatever lie they want to come up with, just to make it sound good. They haven't even done that. They can't even get themselves to even do that. This is a bare minimum. So I don't expect for them to be forthcoming in the truth or what they have been slack on and what they haven't done and the reasons why. I suspect them, a department a chief who got suspended before for falsifying documentation. I couldn't doubt they would falsify a police report. That's my opinion. I wouldn't have no doubt about it if they did it because they have a history of that. And of falsifying report to try to make themselves look good. So it can happen, in my opinion. So so whatever they put up there, they don't mean a hill of beans to me. I just want them to move my son's case. They have any kind of something with them. Somebody have any force that they actually can do it themselves to get my son's case out of that department. In my opinion, a lot of wrong things happening in my son's case, and I don't like it. And I really have to fight against that and make sure my son's taken care of. How many state police have been involved in finding Daniel? 0. All right, 0. It's funny how I remember I did see in a report the first one. Oh, we reached out to outside agencies to search for my son. Right, not one agency outside of Buckeye ever contacted my family and myself. Not one. And I'm telling you how they said that. We reached out to us outside agency, and they used what I guess when they did that Phoenix Firebird helicopter, and they went out to agencies. And I'm saying it's word games. Yeah, they went out. Hey, can you send one of your helicopters fly over this area to see if the vehicle out here? They called that outside agency searching for my son to fly over to see if they can see a vehicle. I see way more than that in these cases that went national. You know what I'm talking about, where they use hundreds and millions of dollars a day searching for people. I mean, thousands of dollars a day, millions of dollars on the search for a person, a murderer, at that, and to go find a person, and had all these resources from the FBI to you name it. I think I heard a new case that I just mentioned earlier. Somebody came on last week and said, don't you know they had the FBI in this young man's case, which is they should. That went missing out there in some desert. I can't remember. I think it was Utah somewhere. Guy in the desert. He's a young boy, dropped out of school, I guess, and became a farmer or something. Missing, right? But they got the FBI in the case. I had to beg for the FBI to this date. And the first thing the FBI telling me, even though the vehicle on federal land, is that Buckeye doing a good job. Like, really, just one agent. It's a shame in the way certain people are treated. And I've tried my best to avoid going in that direction for a whole year now. But it's a shame how certain cases are handled different from others. And you can see it in plain daylight. There's no way around it. People try to. I even tried around it. And you can't find out the way certain urgencies and things happens with certain people at certain times. So, and I'm not saying that'll happen to other people as well, but it happens to people like myself and my son more often than others. So it's possible. That's some of the cases as well. All right. Chase, thank you so much for your question. Do you know if LE interviewed the worker? Yes, they have. They claim they did. If so, did they video or record it? I'm not sure about that. They never mentioned that. So, but they did say they spoke to the guy who last seen my son, and then whatever he said to them, that's what you guys read in the report. And that's the end of the story on that part. Never no interrogation, never vetted his story, that type deal. Because I vetted the story, and it's a lot of holes in that, and I don't believe it. Any progress on the finding out who the other girl was? That was Derek Caitlin. She's a mystery. And like, again, if you're really doing an investigation, they sure enough was quick to put my family's information in their report. And the funny part about it, some of the things they didn't even redact, putting out our locations and things like that in their report, because they were not so much caring about those little particular details to protect us, as a family, as well as some of these other witnesses. But they was able to somehow miss several things in their report. They didn't want to hear they didn't put in a report that the rancher said the vehicle wasn't there. Witnesses the vehicle wasn't there 2 to 3 days prior. They did not put in the fact that this girl, Caitlin, my son spent the night with 2 women in that house that night when he spent the night, that first night they met. So they didn't put the other ladies. We still don't know who this other person is. She's a mystery. And they're hiding her for whatever reason, right? So we still don't know. But they put in Daniel's friend from New York and put his name in. Matter of fact, they didn't even redact his name on certain parts. So they put these people, they put who they want to, and they protect the others who they don't want us to know, and things like that. So that's the kind of thing that's going on. So I still don't know who this other person is. She's a mystery. Her statement is not there. Her account, she was there. My son went missing. She was there. They thought enough to put this woman in the report, right? But they think enough to say, do a full report. Hey, who else was there? And they knew there was another person there because they said it. But then my son even said it, to me personally, and they didn't put that in the report. So that type deal. Anyway, enough of that. But yes, we still don't know who this lady is. They say maybe Instacart can provide some information about the recipients that evening. Yes, they can, and I've been trying it as well, having a hard time. I'm sure that's one of those things that law enforcement have to get. I've been trying to get a lot from Instacart. All right. Shelby Davis question. Sorry if this has been asked before. No, ask those questions, you guys. Some of you guys who've been coming to the Q&A hear the same thing over and over again. I know I'm really grateful for you actually going through that because it's definitely for those who haven't heard the story about Daniel and have these questions. And some of these questions are repetitive, but they need to be answered. So bear in with us. Sorry if this question had been asked before, but what project was Daniel working on when he was on the job that day? Could there be a greater conspiracy with the company? I don't know, and I don't rule anything out, but I don't have anything to suggest any conspiracy with the company. But I can say that yes, Daniel is a field geologist. Like I said, his job is to check viability of the wells, and that's what he was there that day to do his job, to get the water measurements, the water volume that's coming out of that well. His job is also to do the measurements to find out if that well itself can produce 100 years of water, as well as get the rock sediments that's coming out when a man drill down in there to get those rock sediments out and to get those things tested. So yeah, that was he was there for. That was his whole purpose of going out there to that well site to do his job as a geologist, a hydrogeologist, to find out all the information needed about that well itself. So, yes, but as in conspiracy, I don't really get into conspiracy, but I can say that I don't rule anything out when it comes to my son being missing. I do know that there's the wells out there being built currently for the so-called smart city that should be coming up pretty soon in that area. Smart city is built by the Howard Hughes Foundation or company or whatever, as well as I think as one of these other big names putting the smart city. Smart city, I'm sure, is some technical name, and that project and this land's been sold and for millions and millions of dollars. So there's a lot of millions of dollars invested into this project. So my son's job out there for the smart city by law. And I'm gonna tell you what I can say about that area. That area, they've been trying to develop those areas out there since the 80s, right? Fighting over the land and all kind of stuff. They built Sun Valley Parkway way back, I believe it was in the 80s as well. But it was a road to nowhere. That's a little what they called that road at the time. A road to nowhere. They've been trying to do stuff out there for a long time. They couldn't. And most likely it was just because of that. Those wells were not producing that supporting that development, right? And so if Daniel was out there and he was getting ready, which he only been there for 10 minutes, I couldn't even see him getting any kind of measurement going. According to this guy, he was out there for 10 minutes. If it wasn't producing 100 years of water, that project would not be going the way it's going. So, but as in, if he only been there for 10 minutes, he wouldn't be able to do that anyway. I'm sure he had to set up some stuff and all that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, I don't know about conspiracy, so I don't get into it. I have my ideas. All right, Monica, thank you so much. Has any private investigator stepped up to help in any? Yes, I have one now, and I had one in prior. He started off wanting to be pro bono. I since then paid him. One thing I learned doing this, I don't accept pro bono work too much. I'm really skeptical when people say they want to do something for free, because at the end of the day, I don't think it's ever something they really want to do for free, because they always come out later what they really want. So those type deals, I'd rather just pay people up front. And that's a lesson I learned from here, starting off. But yeah, there's a lot of investigators that'll reach out and things like that. Private investigators, that is. They've been trying to reach out from day one. A lot of them, especially when Dane's case was going national, you have all kind of private investigators reaching out. But yes, I had to be selective even with that. So I have what I have now. So I'm really just doing what I can now for my what I can afford and everything else. So, all right, thank you for that question as well. See if I have any more questions. I think I'm at the end of this. I'm on the 2 hour mark. I do have Ti Overton. Thanks so much, Ti. Do you know if Caitlin may have sent him messages via social media? Your lawyer can request those to be reviewed, even if they were deleted. That's one thing I really, I don't know if it's something like you said, if it can be done by attorney, that's great. I don't know if it can, but I know investigative wise, it won't be by PI, but it can by the police department if they get those warrants for that to have information like that pulled because as you guys know, even his social media was wiped when he went missing. So that's a lot of that. All right, one more, T.I. Overton again. Do you know if Caitlin may have sent him messages? Oh, same question. But thank you so much for your question. And that does it. So thank you, ACG. Thank you so much for that last comment there. And thank you guys for coming into Q&A. I will have another Q&A again next week. Don't forget it's Day of Remembrance. Hopefully I can have that family member on there. I'm still working on him coming out to share a story. If you guys have any family member that's missing and want to come on Q&A, please go to Please Help Find Daniel at yahoo.com and put your request in for that. I would love to be able to have your story here on Q&A. That's not just for my son. I really like to help other families as well. But my main goal and my priorities have to be to Daniel. That's what I have to do. This is my son, and that is my main goal and my purpose for being out here in Arizona, to see to my son first. But anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. God bless you. I'll see you next time on Q&A.